Shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up? It's mad 12-year-olds in this tonight.
The courtroom erupted when the judge openly mocked Drake, even throwing shade by calling him the Canadian Katy Perry. In front of everyone, he clowned Drake's legal team, making it clear he understood rap culture and lyrical beef better than the superstar's own attorneys. But the case itself is no laughing matter. Drake's entire lawsuit hinges on his claim that Kendrick Lamar's explosive track, Not Like Us, damaged his reputation. That record didn't just take shots, it went all in, accusing Drake of disturbing behavior involving minors, with chilling imagery, like pins on his mansion and the unforgettable hopscotch sequence with shipping containers in the video. For fans, this wasn't just rap beef. It looked like straight-up character assassination. Here's the irony. Back in 2009, right after So Far Gone catapulted him into the spotlight, Drake himself dropped a diss track called Good Riddance. That song targeted another rapper named Aristo and even featured artists who already had beef with him. Drake wasn't fully established yet, but he was already trying to end careers before cementing his own. According to Rap Genius, Good Riddance was one of Drake's last real diss records before he later claimed he had no time for beef. But fans haven't forgotten. The parallels between his past aggression and his current legal complaints are striking. Back then, Aristo was barely known, and Drake was still hungry for recognition. But the ruthlessness was there from the start. He didn't just come for Aristo. He tried to erase him from the rap map entirely. The final bar left no doubt. Good riddance, Aristo, I just retired you. That mic drop moment was cold, echoing the raw battle energy that made 8 Mile legendary, like Eminem's character tearing through opponents. Drake stepped into the booth determined to destroy, brushing off wealth, fame, and even friendships like they meant nothing. At the time, he was still a Degrassi actor trying to flip his image into rap glory. The track hit every sore spot. Drake addressed whispers that he borrowed flows, name-dropped Joe Budden, and even admitted to past battle losses, while painting Aristo as a hopeless case. That move set the tone for Drake's signature style. Competitive posturing, positioning himself as untouchable no matter how many L's he took. One of the most shocking lines came when he rapped, "Yes, I took an L on my own and they didn't damage me. You try to cover up your lies like a canopy." But then he went darker, dropping a bar about pulling 17-year-olds down in Bramley. The message was layered with accusations, dishonesty, shady behavior, and a warning that no credible person could vouch for Aristo. Drake even painted him as the type who would fold in court, snitching and taking plea deals just to save himself. Here's the wild twist. Even back then, Drake dipped into risky territory with metaphors tied to underage themes, weaving in imagery of school uniforms to craft his wordplay. It was provocative, unsettling, and controversial, foreshadowing the very allegations he's now battling in court today. What's even crazier is how Good Riddance feels like a mirror of Drake's own future. Back then, he admitted to borrowing Joe Budden's flow, bragged about owning his losses, and turned around and blasted rivals with accusations of snitching and shady behavior. Fast forward more than a decade, and those same themes, snitching, dishonesty, and allegations of inappropriate conduct, have circled back, haunting Drake in real time. That's rap karma coming full circle. Now let's jump to the present, the June 30th, 2025. Court showdown wasn't just another routine hearing. It shaped the entire future of Drake's case. Before this, the biggest move came when his lawyers demanded key documents from UMG, pressing hard for industry receipts. The timeline is heavy but clear. Drake filed his defamation lawsuit. UMG fired back with a motion to dismiss, basically telling the judge, this case is baseless. That set the stage for the first explosive hearing, where both sides went all in. UMG argued the lawsuit had no merit. Drake's team countered, insisting Kendrick's lyrics crossed the line and deserved to be tested in court. But the judge didn't sit quietly. He grilled them on whether battle rap bars could legally count as defamation, and whether Drake's claims had enough weight to survive. Then came the bombshell. The judge flat out denied UMG's motion to dismiss. That meant Drake's lawsuit wasn't going anywhere. With that single decision, the door swung open for a flood of new filings. Drake's lawyers, now demanding massive record pulls and internal documents that could drag UMG, and maybe even Kendrick, deeper into the mud. But things got messy fast. Drake's legal team went off script, digging into communications not just with Kendrick and his right-hand man Dave Free, but even involving Kendrick's kids. They piled on shocking abuse allegations and bizarre requests, even dragging in online commentators like Screwface John, a YouTuber and rapper whose name suddenly got pulled into the courtroom chaos. Fans were stunned. What started as a defamation lawsuit was beginning to look less like a clean legal fight and more like a witch hunt. And that's why the June 30th hearing stands out. It was the first time the public saw Drake's high-priced attorneys face off against the bench, and the energy in that room said it all. The wildest part? The judge seemed to know more about rap culture than Drake's own lawyers. It started out routine. Drake's attorney, Mike Gautadl, introduced himself. The judge immediately set the stage. This was UMG's motion to dismiss. That meant UMG would speak first, then Drake's camp, followed by a rebuttal. But what really shook people was how sharp the judge's focus was. He cut straight to three make-or-break issues. First, could Kendrick's fiery, "Not Like Us" lyrics, which Drake insists are defamatory, actually be treated as factual claims? Or were they just artistic opinion? Second, could the court even decide that question this early in the case? The way the judge laid it out had people whispering that Drake might be in far deeper than he realized. Third, the judge zeroed in on the New York Steinhilber test, the exact legal standard used to separate fact from opinion. And here's why that matters. Facts, if false, can be defamatory. Opinions, on the other hand, are usually protected under free speech. Courts break it down with three questions. Are the words precise? Can they be proven true or false? And does the context show they're just opinion, or are they hinting at hidden facts? That razor-thin line is what the entire case hangs on. If Kendrick's bars in Not Like Us are judged as opinion, Drake's lawsuit collapses instantly. But if they're read as factual claims, the case blows wide open. With the framework set, it was UMG's turn to speak, and they didn't hold back. UMG's lawyers went straight at Drake's defamation claim, brushing aside two of his other complaints. Their central point circled back to exactly what the judge had raised. Kendrick's lyrics are opinion, not fact. In legal terms, that makes them non-actionable, meaning they can't even be tested in court. They explained it simply. Calling someone rude is opinion. Saying someone stole 500 is a verifiable fact. One can be sued over, the other can't. Here's the twist. UMG's counsel leaned hard on New York law, reminding the court that deciding whether speech is fact or opinion isn't left to a jury's emotions. It's the court's call. That makes the motion to dismiss stage the perfect moment to shut Drake's case down. Their framing was ruthless. Kendrick's diss track was nothing more than sharp-edged art, not a legally punishable lie. And they hammered the point that Drake's massive 27-page legal brief never once acknowledged the most critical rule: fact versus opinion. Under New York law, that distinction isn't up for debate. It's crystal clear. The judge decides, not a jury, which meant this judge could slam the brakes on Drake's lawsuit before it even sniffed a trial if Kendrick's lyrics were stamped as opinion. Drake's team, of course, doubled down, insisting Kendrick's bars in Not Like Us were cold, hard factual claims. But UMG wouldn't budge, hammering back that the lines were artistic opinions. That's when the judge cut in and jaws dropped. He admitted that legal precedent actually backed UMG's position. Then he pulled out two past cases nicknamed Bryan and Davis to make his point. In Davis, the court focused on timing. It was too early in the process to dismiss the case. So the judges ruled that if lyrics, when heard in their natural context, could possibly be defamatory, the lawsuit had to move forward. But in Bryan, the opposite happened. The court shut down the defamation claim entirely after deciding that an objective listener would clearly hear the statements as opinion, not fact. UMG's lawyers leaned hard on the Bryan angle, arguing that rap beef has always lived in the realm of opinion and exaggeration. But here's the kicker. Courts have also ruled that when remarks are broad or ambiguous, and some listeners might hear them as defamatory, then it becomes a jury's call, not just the judge's. That gray area is exactly where Drake's lawsuit now sits. The case has already grown beyond just him and Kendrick. It could literally set the legal blueprint for how diss tracks, battle raps, and lyrical shots get judged in court moving forward. Drake's lawyers, swung back with a bold claim even if Kendrick's Not Like Us lyrics were just opinion, they were still dangerous enough to be taken as straight-up defamatory. They argued the average listener could easily hear those bars as more than jokes or exaggeration. But UMG wasn't having it. Their attorneys fired back with legal precedent, pointing to past rulings where courts tossed out similar claims without hesitation. That's why this case has industry heads nervous. If Drake pulls off a win, it could rewrite the entire rulebook on how rap lyrics are judged in court. UMG, though, kept their shield locked on Davis. In that case, the court refused to dismiss because the speaker's comments implied secret receipts inside, knowledge that went beyond casual opinion. That hint of authority made the remarks potentially defamatory. Drake's team is now running that same play, pointing to Kendrick's cryptic line, "The rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further." They claim it sounds like Kendrick has hidden evidence that stretches beyond rap theatrics. In Davis, what kept the case alive was context. The speaker wasn't just hurling insults. They were tied to a real university investigation, making comments before the results were public. That gave the words weight, authority, and credibility, enough for a reasonable listener to take them as fact. Drake's lawyers are praying the court views Kendrick's lyrics the same way, but UMG clapped back hard, arguing this isn't Davis at all. Kendrick's bars, they said, were pure diss track energy, no investigation, no secret files, no official authority backing them. Just smoke, no fire. And if the court agrees, Drake's case could collapse right here. That's when the judge flipped the script, pressing UMG with a brutal question. If context is everything, doesn't that mean diss tracks are always just opinion? And is that even consistent with New York law? That moment shook the room. The judge was hinting that rap lyrics might not be automatically untouchable. Courts have ruled before that the setting alone doesn't decide the issue, which means even inside battle rap, some bars could, in theory, cross into factual territory. UMG's lawyers scrambled to clarify. They admitted the form isn't automatically decisive, but argued it shapes interpretation. Just like how an opinion column in a newspaper screams opinion, rap battles come with their own expectations. Courts still comb through the actual content, but in battle rap, exaggeration is the norm. Wild insults are expected and almost never taken literally. Their take was blunt. Kendrick's Not Like Us is nothing but exaggerated trash talk, dripping with rhetorical hyperbole, not facts. To back it up, UMG pulled from the casebook. They cited Hobbs vs. Imus, the defamation suit against shock jock Don Imus. That case was dismissed early, not just because of the words themselves, but because of Imus's notorious history and the outrageous culture of shock radio. In that world, over-the-top statements were expected, so even comments that sounded factual on the surface were judged to be opinion. UMG tried to drop the same. Logic here. Rap battles thrive on bigger-than-life insults, and fans know it, but the judge wasn't letting them off easy. He fired back, pointing out that this case isn't about shock radio. It's about rap diss tracks. A very different lane. The implication was clear. Kendrick's lyrics might not get the same. Free pass UMG was banking on. Then came the million-dollar question. Who exactly is the ordinary listener when it comes to rap? Is it casual radio listeners who barely know rap culture or die hard? Fans who live for battle traditions, where insults are expected? Because history proves one thing. Rap beef isn't always empty talk. Some diss lines have turned out to be very real. That's what had the judge wondering. Can he really dismiss this case so early without digging deeper? Maybe even calling in expert witnesses to explain how fans interpret disses. UMG's lawyers shot back fast. They insisted no court has ever needed rap experts to settle the fact versus opinion divide. New York state and federal law, they argued, are crystal clear. It's judges, not juries, who make that call by looking at the words and their broader context. To prove it, they cited Terrain versus Lou, where the court dismissed the case early without experts, and Rappaport, where the ruling leaned entirely on language and context alone. No specialists, no outside help, just the judge's analysis. But the judge wasn't fully convinced. He pushed back, pointing out that rap battles aren't like mainstream media. This is a specialized culture, with its own codes, expectations, and sometimes its own truths buried in punchlines. Could he really claim to know? How rap fans process Kendrick's bars. Without expert breakdowns, could he be sure they were just hyperbolic? Trash talk? Or accusations meant to sting as fact? UMG's lawyer doubled down, insisting courts don't bring in interpreters for cultural context. Judges go by what's already in the record: the lawsuit's language, the lyrics themselves, and the circumstances around them. With the judge openly questioning whether he even had enough cultural understanding to rule, the tension in the courtroom skyrocketed. UMG's lawyers fired back hard, insisting no extra context was needed. The law already has the tools. Defamation, they argued, lives and dies on context, and the difference between a journalist publishing accusations and a rapper firing shots in a diss track is massive. Rap battles come with their own rules, their own culture, and that setting defines the meaning behind the words. UMG pointed straight to Drake's own complaint. It already spelled out the long history with Kendrick, the rap beef, and the rumors of underage allegations that have followed him for years. And since Not Like Us has been streamed and shared billions of times, UMG argued the court couldn't just cherry-pick what one listener thought it meant. Whether it's a die-hard fan or a casual Super Bowl viewer, the law uses an objective standard. What would a reasonable listener take from the lyrics? Based on what's publicly known, to drive it home, UMG cited Terrain, where a plaintiff tried to block earlier statements from being factored in. The court shut it down, ruling that judges must weigh the full narrative, not isolated interpretations. And here's the kicker. In Terrain, the court even considered the plaintiff's own words because he had included them in his complaint. That's exactly what UMG leaned on here. Drake himself referenced his beef history, his diss tracks, and even media articles documenting them. He even cited one of his own controversial lyrics. That's a gift from me about liking young girls. So when Kendrick clapped back with, "Hey Drake, I hear you like them young," UMG argued the source was obvious. To them, it wasn't defamation, it was rap sparring, fueled with ammo Drake himself had already put into play. UMG then torched Drake's counterclaim that online comments proved fans took the lyrics as fact. They dismissed it as weak, pointing out that defamation law doesn't run on hot takes from Twitter or Instagram. It runs on an objective standard. Most of the posts Drake's team flagged were drenched in emojis, profanity, and trolling, hardly the kind of serious belief that could sway a court. But even with all of that, the heart of the case still hangs in the balance. Drake's lawyers maintain that Kendrick crossed the ultimate line, spitting accusations that risked not just rap beef, but Drake's entire career and reputation. UMG insists it was nothing more than classic rap warfare, exaggerated hyperbole baked into the culture of diss tracks. And now, with the judge refusing to shut it down, the case moves forward, leaving the world staring at one burning question. Can rap lyrics ever be treated as factual? Defamation in a court of law? This isn't just about Drake and Kendrick anymore. This trial could set a precedent that rewrites the future of hip-hop battles, deciding whether bars are simply artistic punches or evidence that can drag rappers into courtrooms. The stakes have never been higher, and every twist in this saga is unfolding like a Netflix series in real time. Thanks for rocking with me through this breakdown. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with your crew. I'll catch you in the next one.